Astroworld dropped yesterday, and like, I love you, Travis, because I mean, wow. Yes, it's begin construction right now. This is perfect. Because green tea is life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I stay organized and productive. So I'm just going to share 5 tips that you could literally apply now, and they should help you get more organized and be more productive in your days. So I have a list, and I'm just going to go through the list. Sorry if the light is changing, I'm filming with natural light. So the first thing is creating a simple morning routine. This actually does help you get productive because it kind of gives your mind the preparation, I would say, for what you're doing in that day. Like if you just wake up every day and you're like confused, you don't know where to start, and you just like start doing things in order, you're going to be a bit of a scatterbrain, and that will really affect your productivity throughout the day. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I don't have like a super like wake up at 5 a.m, go to the gym, blah blah blah. I don't have anything crazy like that in my morning routine. Mine is really simple. I'll wake up, I usually meditate for like 5 to 10 minutes before I leave my room, and then I'll take a shower immediately, then make my bed, arrange my room, have breakfast, and like catch up on my phone, and then start my day. And you see, when I do this every day, I'm mentally prepared for the next task. I know, okay, after I'm done eating this breakfast, then we start working. It's actually proven that most successful people have a morning routine. It varies for most, but I just feel like it's really worked for me to have order in my morning. It kind of just helps me get into the day, and like the activities of the day get me. The second thing is planning your week. Literally writing down what you need to do in a particular week. For me, what I do is first week of the month, second week of the month, third week of the month. So like last week it was first week of August, and then I just wrote down every single thing I need to do. Could be everything from like reading the chapters that I recommended reading for that week for my class, or it could be going to buy hair oil. Literally anything I need to do, I will write it down on that list. When I'm writing my list for the week, which is usually on Sundays, sometimes on Mondays depending on how the weekend goes, but usually I'll write my list regardless. It could be I haven't written it till Wednesday. On Wednesday I will write it. If you have that type of list in one organized notebook, you can be able to see what you need to carry forward to the next week. Planning will also help. If you get really anxious when you have a lot of stuff to do, writing it down and just seeing that there's actually like an order and there's actually an end to the tasks, it really helps like with your mental space. I've used notes on my phone and my calendar to add things. So like if I need to make a call to someone, an important work related call, I'll put it in my calendar so I don't forget, and I do it on the day and time that I was supposed to do it. So yeah, plan out your week, that's crucial. So the third thing after planning your week is practicing self-awareness. And by self-awareness, I mean knowing when you work best. Are you an early bird or a night owl? I actually did some research, and I found this guy called Dan Pink. He was on a podcast that I like that's called The Good Life Project with Jonathan Fields, talking about the science of perfect timing. And he found that there was actually a 20% difference in performance where people broke their day into blocks based on how they work, like what type of person you are and when you work best. Basically, our brain power changes throughout the day. You have a peak, you have a trough, and then you have recovery. Those are the ways that's how your brain activity goes throughout the day. And he was doing a bunch of research, and he found that when you're in your peak, if you're a night owl, this would be late in the night, but for most people, it's like early in the morning. You want to do your analytic work. For me, my analytic work would be my schoolwork, because the evaluation for the unit is assessment-based, which means I have to do a lot of research and present it in a paper, and that's basically what's going to be graded to determine my grade for the unit. So I do that in the morning. I read the recommended chapters for the week. I do whatever I'm doing for my digital marketing plan for the week. I'll do those in the morning hours, because that's when your brain is ready. It's the peak of your brain activity, you know what I mean? Then during the trough, it should be used for routine tasks. And routine tasks could be replying emails that you don't really have to think much about. I would go shop or like get what I need to get out of the house or do stuff like that in the trough, because you don't really need that much brain activity to do it. And then during recovery, it's when you're less vigilant, yes, but you're likely to have a high mood. This time he recommends is best for conceptual and creative work. And for me, this is when I would edit, because I can edit up to 1, 2 in the morning, and I have no problem because I don't really have to think about it that much. You get me? I think it was really interesting listening to the podcast. I'm going to leave the podcast below in the description if you're interested in checking it out and seeing the research behind it, then you should. I mean, 20% difference in performance is a lot, because even if you think about it in marketing, organizations will have a 3-year marketing plan that will be, okay, I'm not gonna say like a smart plan and all that, but it would be like 5% improvement in brand awareness over the next 3 years through increased social media marketing, something like that. 5% in 3 years, compared, like 20% is a lot. So if you can get 20% improvement in performance for yourself, imagine how productive you could be. So the fourth thing is saying no more often. This will help you stay organized, because you will not be going out of your way to do things that you had not set aside time to do. It'll save you a lot of time, it'll save you a lot of money, frustration, you save fuel. You have better relationships because people like know where you stand when it comes to things, and they wouldn't be like thinking you're a pushover and you're easy to convince, you know. And this is something I've really gotten good at. It takes time, I feel like, to cultivate, especially to be able to say no and not feel the need to explain yourself. You can only do so much for people, you get me? So if I'm being a yes man to everyone, and being like, yeah, I'll do that, it really doesn't leave time for me. And the time that I leave for myself, I'm probably tired, you know, and then I'm giving myself the least energy. It does not make any sense. The biggest thing about my 20s so far is selfishness with time, and it actually does make a difference. And then the last thing I have, I think I've said, yeah. The fifth thing is rewarding yourself, and this for me is big because I'm always craving a different thing every day, and I always want to buy food or eat food. I spend most of my money on food, but at the same time I have a savings target for 2018. I have goals to move out, like I'm trying to do proper adult things. It's not sustainable for me to give into every single craving I have, because I'm trying to do all these adult things. So it can't work. So what I do is I get the work done, and then I reward myself. Because as much as I may want to, and I can probably buy donuts every time I want it, or sushi or whatever, that's not how it works. Or that's not how it's gonna work for me as an individual at this point in time. So I'll give an example of how I've applied it in today. So I went through my usual morning routine, woke up, meditated, showered, meditated for like a short time, maybe like 5 minutes on the timer because I was really hungry. Took a shower, had breakfast, like arranged my room and stuff, and then got ready, and now I sat down to film this. Okay, planning a week. I knew in the week I had other stuff to do, but I knew I had to film this video on Saturday because Sunday I'm going to be doing something else with Sophie, so it wouldn't be possible for me to film any other time. And if I do it on Monday, it'll be too late, and it's not a part of next week's plan. Monday is gonna fall under second week of August plans for me. That thing was practicing self-awareness. I knew this was the best time for me to film because the house is quiet, the neighborhood is quiet, it's in the morning. I have the attention, I can sit down, go through the clips after this. Like, if I do it in the morning, it just makes more sense. And so this ties into the fourth one, just saying no more often. I went out last night, but I was literally home by 1 a.m. because if I stayed out, I wouldn't have been doing this right now. I would have been asleep. You can never regret sleeping more, like getting more sleep. It's never like, oh, I wish I got less sleep. That's not a thing. And then reward yourself. I'm about to go get myself a burger because I've done everything on my list for the week and I don't feel guilty and I feel like I actually deserve it. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope you'll try and apply this. I feel like they're really simple. I'm not like an specialist on organization. This is what I have noticed are the 5 like major things that keep me organized. Please subscribe, please turn on the notifications bell, please share this video, like this video. Let me know any suggestions you have or videos you would like to see me do with my friends on my own. I'm always open to ideas. Yeah.